Assalamu alaikum, ladies and gentlemen. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Azim Daudpota, and I am Air Marshal Azim Daudpota's grandson. All his 4 grandsons carry Azim as a middle name, and that's what he truly was, an Azim man. On behalf of my grandmother, my parents, my family, my 2 brothers Amar and Usman, who due to their studies abroad could not be with us today, I want to thank all of you for being here. It's nice to see so many people who loved and cared about my grandfather. My grandfather lived a life that was full of joy and happiness. Whenever I think about him, I remember how humorous, witty, and clever he was. Most of my childhood memories with him are full of humor and laughter. It was so much fun to be with him. He loved to laugh, have fun, and we adored him. He would sing old English songs of Nat King Cole and many others, and his favorites were Cosito Papiti, Whitney Houston, and Tina Turner. And old actresses and singers like Madhubala, Noor Jahan, and Maivati. He was the beginning of a book, a story without end. Most of his stories revolved around the Air Force days and how he spent his cadet days where he had to polish his own shoes and even do gardening himself. He narrated the Australian humour where a tall man would be called a shorty and a fat man would be called a thinso. Truly an officer and a gentleman, Papa never liked jeans. He always preferred that everyone should wear proper pants with a sharp crease. So simple he was in his habits that he would boast about his 40-year-old sweater and clothes, and his personal monthly expense was just shaving blades. He did not prefer luxury cars, and instead drove an old Hyundai, always saying the only purpose is to go from one point to another. His favorite food was lamb chops for appetizer, chicken biryani with zarda as a main course, and our grandmother's famous bread pudding for dessert. He would at times tell us how he makes a famous fluffy Daudpota omelette. And in fact, in PIA, the pilots called a naan-katai biscuit as Daudpota biscuit. He told us how during the 65 war, Noor Jahan's motivational songs inspired him to fiercely chase down and destroy enemy tanks, a feat for which he was later awarded the Sitare-e-Imtiaz. I remember how Papa used to tell me funny stories about his childhood and school days, like how he would save 1 anna by not taking the tanga back home from school, and instead choosing to walk and spending that money on an ice cream. I always thought that Papa has had an extraordinary childhood. He narrated how he would cycle around Karachi in the early 50s, where there was nothing beyond Gora Kabristan, and the beach was visible from there. The beach was visible from there, and the quality time he spent with his friends from St. Patrick's and DJ Science College. Looking back now, I realize that it was not just the events in his life that were extraordinary, but the way he faced them, and life in general, with intelligence, courage, and wit. I sat in the hospital, so quiet, as my grandfather lay there on the hospital bed, still fighting like a fighter pilot. It was not an easy sight to see as he flew away. My grandmother glancing at each one of my relatives, hoping and then saying that even with God, he would be talking about flying and Air Force. As our eyes burned as if on fire, and yet so much left to our desire, and we should cherish the good times spent with him. Papa, I will always miss you, but I have so many wonderful memories of you. I'll always think of you with a smile.